We're live.
Oh my god, are we live?
Yeah. It's FSeries live time, and we're here to talk through Baku because it was a fantastic race, and you all know that Baku is collectively our favourite race of the season, and it was fantastic. So we're going to be going live, talking through all of the important talking points from Baku. Comment any questions in the live chat if you want to get our opinion on anything. I bet it will cut. They'll be flooding in with like Pirelli. What's your opinion on Pirelli? Why is Lewis Hamilton's career over? But seriously, any questions? Pop them in the comments. Let's just start off. Rate this race out of 10, ladies.
10 out of 10.
Do you know when you say that? I think of that girl from X Factor, that Rachel, and she's like 10.
Yeah. No, in fairness, I'd probably give it like an 8.5.
I was going to say 9.
Yeah, 9.
A little bit in the middle.
I was worried I was going to get a bit bored.
Yeah, at the start I was like, okay, I'm not feeling the vibe. Then like lap 31, it was like smack.
We were there looking, where are the vibes?
I was like,
and then
we
they were like,
rigged up the vibes on Twitter the whole week, and we're like, oh no!
But like the rain, like is the rain coming? Rain's coming in 5 laps time. Vibes are coming in 5 laps time.
Oh my god, a vibe forecast instead of a rain forecast.
You did pass the vibe check.
I love it.
So, right, we're basically feeling pretty positive about Baku. Let's start off with driver of the day. Who's each of the drivers of the day? Because I don't know if we'll actually all have the same answer.
Seb.
Yeah, I was going to say Seb or Checo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any different?
I would
Because
say
the
so.
thing is, not taken away from Checo at all, but I know you can say the same, but Seb was doing well for the Aston Martin, whereas Checo, technically, if they wouldn't have had issues, kind of would have finished like P3, which is still good, but I think Sebastian kind of exceeded that. So like Checo's up here, like Seb's like up here, you know? And then Pierre's like somewhere there.
I think Pierre had really good racing. Like his final laps with Charles, I do not think have been discussed enough.
Oh!
Yeah.
Like that battle.
Really good.
I mean,
I think that all of the end battles were absolutely insane because Fernando Alonso was like on a charge.
He remembered
the
that he's a
field.
2-time champion,
I
didn't
know.
he? He was like, oh yeah, I've got 2 championships behind my belt. Let me actually show why I have that. So, but I think with Pierre, he was, for me, the most consistent throughout the entire weekend because you look at all the others and they either had like not a great race or not great qualifying, whereas Pierre was consistent. He qualified P4 and he finished P3. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you look at the last, I know Lando and McLaren aren't even in it for like a driver of the weekend or anything, but we were talking about last laps, and honestly, we watched the highlights again today, and I was just like, them last 2 laps, it could have been Pierre, Charles, or Lando, because Lando was fighting Charles that whole time, and I was just like, oh my god, that was actually crazy. Like we
Would have been the last lap Lando.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
A
so good.
resurgence.
I think Crofty actually said that as well, didn't he?
Someone
Did he?
did.
Someone, or maybe it was Paul who just
I've like
said something about
blanked
last lap
that.
Lando.
I don't remember like anything that those 2 said. I just remember being
Right.
there like, I need
No,
to time last 2 laps.
It was a bit mental.
It's-
Yeah, we got the first taste of sprint racing.
Yeah, but it's like what sprint racing wants to be. Like that's what we
Well,
want
not
the sprint
able
races
to.
to be, but it's not going to be like that. But I'm glad like we got a little bit of something because maybe now when it comes to sprint races, we'll be like, no, we want a bit more of that. Can we have a bit more of that? And maybe they'll go, okay, and they'll consider it.
Part of me thinks, I know this is going a little bit off topic now, but also part of me thinks that sprint race being 100 kilometers, that's like a third of the race, is not really very sprinty. This
No.
was a sprint. Like that was 2 laps all out, you're in. Whereas like a 100-kilometer sprint race around Baku, that would have been like 18 laps or something. I don't know. I can't do the quick maths. But it would have been like a lot of laps. And I just don't really think you get the same vibe because that was those last few laps, I think all Formula One fans genuinely loved. They were just sick.
Thrived.
Can we say hello to everyone in the chat?
Hi,
Yeah.
everyone.
Hi, gang.
Hi everyone, who've we got? Robert Percy, Adam, Will, Seb, Luke. Oh, everyone's here. Hi everyone. That was just a little shout out to you all. Sorry if I missed you.
I'll just go shout downstairs to get Sco on it. Where is
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, we'll
let's do some
do you wanna
questions.
read some of
Okay.
these questions. We've got quite a few coming.
Yeah, so Imogen, what was up with Bottas this week? He was literally nowhere.
He was still in Finland, wasn't he? Like he wasn't actually at Baku this weekend. I kept being like, oh, like what? Not much is happening at the front. Oh, maybe because Bottas isn't even there to like give a helping hand. And every time I just looked over, it's just like it was just worse. And I was like, what is going on? I'm sick of this, man. I think I've calmed down a bit now, but still I have a lot of anger inside me for the fact that man is still in the Mercedes seat.
Yeah, like I think the thing is, like, I was like, okay, he's blaming it that the car's not got a lot of speed around the street circuits, but in like one point you got overtaken by 4 drivers in cars that are constantly from P15 to P20. Like, you can't say that you're not as fast as them cars. Like, that is just ridiculous, especially when I know Lewis probably did get a bit of a toe in quali, but he still kept the car up there the whole race until obviously, you know, the big last restart. But do you know what I mean? Like, you cannot blame it. Like, you're being overtaken by 4 cars that are like an Alpha. Like that doesn't make sense. Like, a Merc should not be overtaken by an Alfa Romeo.
It's that video that Southbed tweeted out, which was the way, because we all saw him falling down the timing screen in the last lap, and we're like, what are you doing? Are you okay? And then, no, we thought, man, maybe he's got an issue. No, this man just got overtaken.
He just can't drive.
And I was like, what are you doing? And that went viral. I think everybody has seen that, and their mum. So, yeah, it was just, I don't know what he was doing. I genuinely don't. And I don't think there's an excuse either. They've just said he just genuinely didn't have the pace. Like, what? I don't understand.
I think that's the worst part for me as well. The fact that, do you know, I can't even necessarily blame him too much in qualifying, because his final run was ruined as the sign incident. But even if you don't look at that, a Mercedes should have been carving its way through the field during the race. And he didn't. He went backwards. So that is the worst part for me. Even if he'd have stayed in the same position, no, that still would have been bad. That still would have been bad. No, that's not acceptable. But the fact that Lewis managed to get the pace in the Mercedes, it clearly was there. It clearly existed. Bottas just wasn't able to capitalise on that. And I think that that's the worst part, because it is a Mercedes. And I know it has been having a few issues this year, but I still think that you should have been able to do some more with that car. You should not have been fighting with an AlphaTauri or an Alpine.
And it kind of comes down to, it's not, I'm not saying it's solely, well, it kind of is solely driver ability, because the places he was being overtaken were places where he, as the driver, needed to defend or needed to take a different line. Like, it's a street circuit. So where these drivers were coming up the inside, you should have been doing that with the car in front of you, but you weren't. So, you know, it's not like you're like down a massive straight or whatever, and then it's like the car differences. It was him. It was on him.
I just don't understand. Like, I genuinely think something's just gone within him, because this is a track, it's not even a track he's bad at. He came from P20 a couple of years back and finished P2.
When you got Lance on the line.
Yeah, like literally it's a track that he has format, and it's kind of one, a bit like Daniel Ricciardo, potentially, you'd say that you would expect them to do better at than what they achieved this weekend.
I mean, I think Toto now really has to think about the whole situation, because it would have been bad enough, but the fact is that, but when Max wasn't there, Checo was there this weekend, and Checo took the win. And that is like just sole proof that Bottas is in real danger of losing his constructors for Mercedes. Yeah. And it's like, if that happens, there's no way he's keeping his seat whatsoever. Absolutely no way. And I was talking about this last night, and I have a beef conspiracy theory, gang. Are you ready? Oh, no, come on. This is a good run, right? So I think that we've obviously said that Bottas over the past couple of years has been the perfect second driver for Lewis. Now, I raise you this. He's not a second driver to Lewis. He never has been. He's just never had any competition to show that he is a bad second driver. That's my conspiracy theory. We all thought that, like, he's perfect. He helps Lewis in this way and in that way. But as soon as there's suddenly some kind of competition against Mercedes, where is he? He crumbles. He's not this perfect second driver that we've all thought he has been. He's frauded us for years.
Frauded us.
I just look at him and I just think like to be in a Mercedes, obviously you've got to be a good driver. And I'm not saying that he's not, but should Mercedes, I think I tweeted this yesterday when I was halfway through the race, I was like, should Mercedes take that risk and put George in to their mid-season? Because if Bottas keeps performing like this before the summer break, they would have lost the championship, the Constructors' Championship, because he is nowhere near the points that they need. Even if it is constantly Max and Lewis, and then say Perez is constantly in the top 4, if Bottas is not in the top 4, they will lose this on points. Like, it's not, they're not going to get it. And I just think we saw how quickly George came into the Mercedes at Sakir, and everyone was like, yeah, but he might not be able to do that again. I'm like, okay, yeah, he might not be able to do that again, but he had 2 days to get in that car. He literally nearly got pole. He was like, what, 10ths of a second out. He took the lead at the start and was only lost the win because of the team. Like, I don't see why at this point in time they wouldn't take a gamble and just go, you know what, let's just try it. Because if Bottas continues and up until the summer break to not be getting these points, like, what else have they got to lose? They've got nothing else to lose.
That's exactly what I think, because, like, in reality, okay, if they swap, like, Bottas out for George, what's the worst that can happen? They finish P2. That's where they're going to finish anyway at this rate. So you might as well just take that gamble on George. If he's going into the seat at the end of the season anyway, and you're like, well, what have we really got to lose? I mean, I never thought I would say this, but take a leaf out of Red Bull's book and do a cheeky mid-season swap.
Wow!
That is
He's proper vexed me this weekend. He proper.
So we've talked a lot about Bottas, but final question before we move on: do you think the Mercedes will do a mid-season swap? Not whether you think they should, or do you think they will?
No.
It's not their nature, is it?
Never do a Red
Exactly.
Bull.
They
They don't want to stoop to that level.
Okay, on the topic of Red Bull, Luke asks, are we surprised Red Bull let Max push as hard as he did in the latter stages?
No.
Could that have been the reason for his tyre blow up?
No, because his
Issue.
tyres were not that used, and he could. I think the expectancy was another 10 laps. He could have gone at least on that, and even that is obviously giving you some leeway with the Pirelli, because they're not going to say 40 laps and they blow up every 40 laps. You know what I mean? He had the leeway within the tyres, so absolutely no, I don't think so. I think we definitely had an issue, and Pirelli need to address it, because neither Lance's or Max's instance this weekend were their fault, and something went wrong with the reason. I don't know what it was, but I don't think he was pushing too hard. He was probably driving the way that he normally would do at any given stage, and at the same time, it's I don't want to say a slow speed track, but it's, well, it kind of is. So it's not like you're pushing every single corner all the time. So I don't know why it went wrong, but I don't think
I think the thing to look at as well, they were showing Lance's tyres like literally like 5 laps before one of them blew up, and they did not look, they weren't graining, they didn't look like they were used, and then literally when it happened I was like, how is his tyre blown up? Because we literally 5 laps ago saw they were still fine, like he was still going, he was in what, he was at the top, wasn't he? And I was like, oh my god, obviously I know he needs to pit, but I was like, his tyres are going for a long stint again like he did last week in Monaco, and I was like, how has that happened? And obviously to see Max happen as well with the same tyre, I was like, this ain't normal. Like,
was Lewis not on older tyres than Max as well?
Yeah.
Like, Max wasn't
which is
even
what makes
on the
it so
oldest
confusing.
tyres.
Yeah. Guys,
And George
before we
Russell as
carry
well.
on, sorry,
go on.
Mike's late again, but he's here.
Yay, he's here!
You made it. Well, go on.
Carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say, George Russell pitted at the, I guess we're talking pit stops and strategy now. So George Russell pitted at the end of the first lap for them hard tyres and wanted to go to the end of the race on them. Now, I don't know about you, but that isn't really correlating in my head, the team making that decision. I personally think that you shouldn't be able to pit at the end of the first lap, or not that you shouldn't be able to, it shouldn't be a rule, but you shouldn't be able to pit at the end of the first lap to be able to go to the end of the race. That should not be a thing that you should be able to do. I am such an advocate now for like 2-stop races, because I think one of the massive issues that we have with Pirelli at the minute is that they're being asked to solve Formula One problems. And that's not their responsibility. They're there to provide tyres. So they're saying the tyres can... I think they were supposed to do 40 laps, the hard tyres. George pitted at the end of the first lap. How long was the race? 53 laps? 51. Right, so theoretically, even if George had gone to the end, he didn't. But if he had gone to the end on those tyres, that shouldn't have been possible. They're supposed to do 40 laps, so you shouldn't be pitting at the beginning of the race. You know what I mean? Like, I just think we need to think more about how... Oh no.
She doesn't have a brain.
It's gone. No, I'm you know how we did have this conversation as well about mandatory 2-stop pit stops.
Yes.
mandatory
We
two-stop races in some video. When was this?
That's
Probably when
fine,
we
yeah.
talk about
Tyre
tyres,
video.
yeah.
Maybe that one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
But
there you go.
The thing is, F2 have the rule you cannot do your mandatory pit stop until after lap 6.
Yeah.
So why is that not in Formula 1? You know, you look at these rules in Formula 2 and you think, hang on a minute, that's quite a good one for Formula 1.
Yeah,
And I
that's
just
what
don't
they
do it. Yeah. So I mean, that could be a thing because obviously, like I don't know who it was. Somebody pitted. I think they done a nose change. Was it Jack Aiken? I don't know who it was. And they changed their tyres.
And
But you got to
Dan.
then pit again.
Dan,
Yeah.
Dan.
No,
because he
you then got to pit
before
again.
lap 6, and then he had to pit again, and it's like basically like obviously messed up strategy. I think that would be so good to bring it into
Yeah.
Formula 1. I just think we can. I know Formula 2 is the feeder series, but we could learn a lot from Formula 2. I think a lot.
Oh yeah.
You look like looking at their race yesterday. I was like, oh my god, yes, love it. And then you go and watch the first 31 laps of our race in F1, and it's like, oh, okay. And it's like, how is it so different between the two series? Like, I just don't understand. I just love Formula 2. Love it.
Real Formula 2 fans.
All right, Juliana, does anybody have anything else to add in terms of tyre drama, pit stop strategy?
I was just personally happy that Williams again, and actually when George pitted, Giovinazzi pitted as well. I'm just happy that those back markers again are trying something different. I go on about this all the time about how I'm sick and tired of these backfield teams doing the same strategy as everyone else and just hoping that there's a crazy race and they somehow end up in P10, which is never going to happen. It's a joke. So I'm just really happy that again, I think this is definitely the second time we've seen Williams do it this season, that they are trying something different and seeing if it pays off or not. And this weekend it didn't, but that's far better than doing what everyone else is doing and just praying to the gods situation. So keep doing it, Williams, because I'm hoping one day it will pay off.
Definitely. I was just going to pick up on a question up here from Vishesh. I think I probably said that wrong. And it is, if Checo did not mess up the pit stop, would he have came out in front of Max? And this is probably something that people forget because it was so crazy at the end. But actually, there was a situation where Checo probably would have came out on touch, if not ahead of Max Verstappen. But because he had like a 4.3 second pit stop, I think, came out quite far behind. So do you think if that would have been like a 1.8 Red Bull?
You know what I'm like.
Beef's conspiracy theories.
You
Red
know what I'm
Bull,
like.
Red Bull's pit stop for Checo was slow on purpose.
The fact that Max's was like 1.9, I think, because I remember Ted saying that's not going to be a 1.8, and then Crofty was like, it's literally 1.9. I was like, okay, cool. But, like, I was literally like, oh my god. Elliot was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they've done that on purpose, because he came out literally, and then I was just like, oh my god, how have they done that? 4.3 when they're high, when they're like their slowest is normally like 2.2. You know what I mean? Like how? So I wouldn't be surprised, but then also
It didn't work anyway.
So
What else?
I thought someone else was going to have something more to add, but allegedly not.
No.
Okay, so Jess is going to ask us, do you think more people take Sebastian Vettel seriously?
I hope so.
So we actually did a video on is Sebastian Vettel past his prime.
We did.
What did
Well,
you say?
I can't remember.
That is
I was
overall.
no.
Yeah, I think I said no.
Same.
Johnny, you
I
made a
said no.
U-turn, don't lie.
I think this
Oh, I
will give him
did.
so much more confidence, definitely. And I think the way that they reacted to his podium is like when we saw at Turkey when Seb got the P3, they were more talking to Charles, who wasn't on the podium, than they were to Seb. But if you see the videos of Seb after yesterday's race, all the mechanics are there. They're all having drinks, all having photos, all happy. And I think that is just so nice. Like you can see that the team are so behind him, and I think that's what he needed after coming from Ferrari. So I do think, fingers crossed, this weekend will like sort of give him that push to carry on doing well.
I think it's being back in like not like a little team, but like a little team where like the small victories mean so much more. I think that will do him the absolute world of good. And maybe he's like reminiscing back to the Toro Rosso days and just like living his best life, and he feels like young Seb again. It's just really good to see that when he performs well, he is valued as a member of the team, because even when he pulled out a good performance with Ferrari in the latter years, you just felt like it was like never like quite enough unless it was a win. So it's just really good just to see our Sebastian Vettel just appreciated. Makes me very happy.
I think it's great for Aston Martin as well.
Appreciate it.
I think people are going to take Aston Martin more seriously as well, because obviously, I was absolutely gunning for them because I thought they were going to come out the block so well this year, and they hadn't, and people kind of looked at it and thought, oh, what's going on here? But actually, I think this is a very good boost for them as well. And just think, like, we might go on to it later. Well, I think we should, because Lance Stroll was on for an absolute banger. The pitch, he created the safety car that he needed.
Bless him.
But imagine like what the result would have been if. I know, obviously, I don't know the logistics of what everybody else would have done if there wasn't that safety car, but whatever. But I can imagine, how well Lance could have done as well. And even if it wasn't Sebastian, it would have been Lance. So either way, this weekend, Aston Martin had done very well, and I think they've solidified themselves to actually being like, but not as far back as maybe we thought. But yeah, for Sebastian, I'm just so happy for him.
Johnny was crying on the bloody restart.
Fun.
I was actually. I don't know why. The only thing that makes me cry is Seb on a podium. Like anything else, I'm like, nah, it's fine.
Johnny has no emotions unless there is a German man standing on the podium.
It's so true.
It's so true. Oh wait, she wouldn't know much about the other one though. She's never seen it. Nico,
what? I'm confused.
Nico's never been on a Formula One podium. Nico Hulkenberg has never had a Formula One podium.
Oh yeah!
Wow.
But yeah, I thought you were talking about Rosberg, and I was like, man won
Rosberg as well.
I mean, I would give just a special shout out at the moment in general to the Aston Martin strategy team, because they pulled it off in Monaco and they sort of did the same again this weekend. And especially when, I guess at the start of the season, their car wasn't great, let's be real. We all expected a lot more from them, and they were just sort of like nowhere, and I was expecting them to be at like the back end of a fight with Alpine and AlphaTauri, but now they've gone, no, we can get the points even if we don't maximize our performance on the Saturday. So yeah, I'm really excited for this Aston Martin, Alpine and AlphaTauri battle, because a lot of us we're focusing on like obviously Merc and Red Bull and then Ferrari and McLaren, but the battle behind is equally as exciting. And then you've got Alfa Romeo, and then you've got like Williams and Haas.
Well,
let's actually talk about that, because now
wait. Did you see Sebastian Vettel said Feliz Navidad
But do you not just think that sums up Seb so much? Like, he's just such a good egg.
He is the F1 uncle.
He's never
He's actually just like trying his best.
And I want to know, like, how many bevies did Seb have for that photo that we all saw on Twitter this morning of him with his trophy? Like, I want to know how many bevies he had, because he looked like
I just want to throw it back to the TikTok that we watched the other day, where it was like everyone was pouting, and then he's like, "We've got actual Seb pouting."
Yeah.
Like,
so good.
Fantastic.
Sorry, couldn't forget about the Feliz Navidad. Sorry, I was brought up in the chat.
Yeah.
It did just remind me of it.
No, let's talk about radio, because that's actually
Oh,
a great
you're gonna say, let's
lead
talk
on.
about Feliz Navidad.
That's what I thought she was gonna say.
Yeah, let's have a Spanish lesson. Feliz Navidad.
Oh no, we need to end this.
Oh, you just did that on a live
So
stream.
gross.
Can't be
Oh
editing that
no,
out.
I'm quitting. Right, let's talk. Right, so radio. FIA radio is honestly one of the best things to come into Formula One in recent years, because it has genuinely given us the insight that we all needed. I love hearing Red Bull on the phone with Michael Massey. I love hearing McLaren being like, "Oi, pull everyone over," and then Michael Massey being like, "Nah, you're all speeding. You're all breaking the rules." I want it all the time. I want a dedicated channel where I can just listen to the FIA getting calls from all of the drivers and the team of the drivers.
I loved how with the Red Bull radio, like they were like, "Michael, I know you're really busy." I mean, that just proper made
Michael
me
Babes.
yeah.
It was really funny.
We saw when Mazepin and Mick had that little thing, whatever happened there, and me and Kira were talking about it yesterday, and we was like saying how Mick is like quite a calm driver, like he doesn't get like overheated, like he doesn't get hot-headed, and to see him on the radio and how he was reacting in the car, like with his hands, and I was just like, you know what, like he's actually had enough of how you're driving. Like it was just so dangerous, and I think like it's literally every race weekend we see something like that, and the way that he was over the radio and his team was like, it's noted. I'm just like, how can this still get away with it? So I just think that was quite an interesting radio, because obviously we normally don't see Mick being that hot-headed, and to see him actually like moaning on the radio,
He
I
swore.
thought, like, okay.
He
I
swore.
know. I didn't know that man
Oh,
could swear.
but Gary calmed it down, you know. Gary was like, it's okay.
I need
In Gary we
my
trust.
life. In my life.
Oh, Gary would sort us all out, wouldn't he?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you know when we did that build a team video, and it was like, who do you want to be your race engineer?
Oh,
Gary.
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 we need to do it again. We've got different answers now.
Mhm,
I want
100%.
Gary to be my first driver, my second driver, my engineer, my strategist.
All right,
my team
Carlos
principal.
Sainz and Rubens Barrichello are fuming right now.
They're next.
All right,
sorry.
more
Look at that
questions.
question. Look at that question. Look at that. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm picking up everything with Steph's
I was literally just about to go to
Sorry.
question, but go,
Sorry.
go.
Do we think the FIA should bring back the drivers' briefings? Oh my god, yeah,
Yes.
I can remember them. But apparently the drivers were the ones that didn't want it being broadcast. Can you remember
Yeah.
the beef we
It
used
makes
to have?
sense.
Oh my
I
god,
love
they're
it.
like,
Yeah, but you know, like George, did you see that video of George just walking back with his suitcase? He don't want to go to any briefing after the race. He wants to be off, mate. He's like, see you later, I'm gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
What
I
was
would
that?
love to
What
see
was
that
that
again.
one where Lewis and Grosjean?
Yeah.
What was that one where
That's
Lewis
where
said
all the
something? And
memes come from. Because
Yeah,
then Perez is there like,
then...
Yeah, because it was about the seatbelts. It was kind
Yes.
of have Halo and they were waving out the car.
do you
He was
undo
like,
it, Lewis, or
do you undo
take
it? He's
off?
like, and I just stretch.
I just
Iconic.
loosen them.
Iconic.
Oh.
All right,
You can
right.
carry
So
on.
my question again
Sorry.
was who did we just have? Adam says, do we think that Yuki will be able to push on and get better results now? So Yuki had a really positive weekend.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
as I
hope so.
It's going to
predicted.
improve. It's the only way's up for Yuki.
I was like,
The only way
trying
is
to go through
up.
the top 10 yesterday, and I was like, who was like P7? I was like, who was it? I was like, oh my god, it was Yuki. I was like so surprised, but it's so nice to see him up there. Like he still wasn't happy with P7. Like he wanted that P6. You could hear on the radio he wasn't happy. So I think like he knows that he can be up there with Pierre. So
He knows it's
I hope so. Because I think that he's so small, he's got so much anger in his body. He's cracked me
yeah.
up.
It's the equivalent of Steph. Steph
I'm not
gets
angry.
vexed.
I'm a happy person.
I mean, I think I was talking to George last night. George, my boyfriend, not George Russell.
You wish.
Oh my god, is my name Charlotte? Talk about my boyfriend. Anyway. And he was saying like how he was like Yuki was obviously quite vexed over the radio at the end of the race and all of that, and how he's just usually angry on the radio anyway, and he was saying he shouldn't have this attitude, and the fact that France has had to move him from the UK to Italy, so he's more involved with the team and stuff to help him improve. He was like, he feels like Yuki's not putting in enough effort, even though he's in Formula One. I was like, I get that vibe, but also like just watching him for that 1 year in Formula 2, he's such a yo-yo driver. Like, you know, Yuki, he's either like right at the top doing the absolute most, or he's crashed out. He's he's got no points. He never seems to be anywhere in between. So I liken Yuki's consistency very much to like Lance Stroll's, where you'll just get absolutely nothing for ages, and then just a quality result, and you're like, where else has this come from? Why can't this be around more? So hopefully he can work on his consistency, and he's not like here 1 week and then nowhere the next week.
I think Yuki needs to be less angry, because I don't think driving angry gets you anywhere. Because we've seen that when drivers get angry, they get hot-headed, they make decisions that they shouldn't do. Like thinking back to 2017 Baku, when Sebastian Vettel was brake tested and then slammed into the side of Lewis Hamilton. Like, but driving angry does not get you your maximum amount of points. So that's what I want for Yuki. I want him to, because I can't say don't be angry, like don't shout over the radio, because emotions are heightened. So I understand this, but I think at some point you just have to let go of the anger, because if you're holding on to the anger, you're not focusing on what you need to be focusing on at hand. And I think that would do Yuki the world of good if he just, let go of some of the anger and like was way more focused on the task. And I still think that he should have done another year in F2, but Red Bull are all about promoting their talent ASAP Rocky. So he's here in Formula One and he's doing a decent job, I'd say.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, go on. Would you like to say? All right then.
I thought somebody else was going to start talking.
I can
You're
talk about
rubbish.
Yuki Tsunoda all day. You know I can. Yeah, I think this weekend's going to be definitely a confident booster for him. Obviously, we know Pierre always overperforms in the last couple of years, especially after his Red Bull stint. against obviously Danny Kvyat and then Yuki Tsunoda. So it's obviously quite crucial for Yuki to be able to come back up and kind of say, hey, I'm still here and give me a chance. And obviously he's not, well, he did crash, but it didn't affect him too much, if that makes sense. So I think it's going to be really good for him, and I think it's going to boost his confidence a lot, and I think he's going to feel so much better. And obviously, as you said, he's moved to Italy. Is it Faenza? I don't know. So he's moved to Italy. So I don't really know. I guess when he was in Milton Keynes, he was just like in the shared accommodation with all the boys from the Red Bull Junior. And at the end of the day, he's not a Red Bull. Well, he is a Red Bull Junior, but he's not one of the juniors anymore. He needs to step up and he needs to be with the team more, because it must be. It's like working. It's like Dorney. It's like working in a completely different place from where your job is. You know what I mean? So like the connection.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're there, you're like, oh, now I feel it. So hopefully now it'll boost him a little bit more, because so many things from outside of the track will really affect you more than you think when you then take your racing on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I
Made a good point as well in the chat, saying that people forget that he was in F1 only 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Like
it's mad.
that
Oh my
is
God,
mad.
yeah.
Like he has come up so quickly, and I do think he does. Like it is only the 6th race. Like he will settle in and he will like learn what he needs to do and how he needs to act as an F1 driver. Obviously, like going up and up and up, and like this is the final steps. Like he obviously needs to know that he needs to perform and he needs to act like an F1 driver to stay an F1 driver. Because that video of him, I think when they were like, "Yeah, you've got training in the morning," and he's like, "Me, I've got to exercise," and that's just like like that, and I'm like, "Yuki, you're an F1 driver. Like you need to train." So I do think it will come with time. Obviously, it's only the 6th race, but I do think his team will. Now he's moved, he will definitely feel more involved and hopefully be less angry.
And AlphaTauri need him to turn up as well, because they, like I said, they are in this fight with Alpine and Aston Martin. If you can actually turn up, like, could you imagine if they finished P5 in the championship? That would be a crazy result for them. So
We were.
We've got off the rails.
Oh, what was I just going to say? Oh, okay, right. What do we think of Daniel's performance? So let's talk McLaren. Let's talk Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel, what is there to say? I'm disappointed. I feel like we're all disappointed, because everybody, if you say you're not a Daniel Ricciardo fan, you're lying, because everyone's a Daniel Ricciardo fan and everyone's a Sebastian Vettel fan, and that's just the way it is. So it is really disappointing to see Danny Rick suffering so much, especially because there's really good tracks, Monaco and Baku, and he's just kind of not been anywhere on the pace. We did do a video on this, but let's just briefly mention what do we think Daniel Ricciardo can do? Is he going to jump back on it for the next few races, or is this going to be something that plagues him for a while? Donnie, you keep saying that he takes a while to warm up, and you're also the McLaren expert. So.
I mean, I wouldn't say expert. I don't think he had the worst weekends overall. I think he actually did really well, and I think might be a bit controversial, but out of the 2 McLaren boys, I definitely think Daniel had a better weekend overall. And it was Lando that maybe kind of had some lost opportunities. This is not agreeing with me at all. Yeah, like Daniel we know is someone who isn't a George Russell, in the sense of, if we're saying George jumps straight into a team and gets straight up to grips with it, Daniel takes about half a season to get going, and we know that Daniel is at McLaren for the long run, and that McLaren, as much as this year would be good to get results, their focus is very much on 2022. So although it's not the best, I definitely think Monaco was a lot more concerning, which was an absolute shambles of a weekend for Daniel. But I do think like he finished P9, it was really good. So I don't think he had the worst weekend. I think we're all still on track and we're still getting there. The one thing I would say is that when you look at the others who have jumped teams, Seb jumped team and he is now on a podium. Checo jumped team, he's won a race. Carlos, bit dodgy, bit rumbly ground. But yeah, Daniel is definitely the one who's taken the longest, but I think it was to be expected, and we know that he does just take time to settle in, and he's got the time. It's not like what's happening with Perez next year. Does he even have a contract? Like, do we know what's happening there? Like Daniel, we know it's a long-term plan, so he's got the time.
That's what I was going to say. You know what I mean? It's like, if he had 1 year contract, we'd be sitting here panicking a little bit, I think. But because we know that this is the long haul for McLaren, we know that this is probably the best decision for McLaren. Like, I think we can all agree this is such a good pairing. Like, they actually look, I just love it. I absolutely love it. Like, I think it's such a good pairing. I think we all agree. It's just like the perfect pairing. And I think I've always looked at Daniel and thought, you just suit McLaren. You know, you feel like you should just be there. And it's going to take time for him to warm up. Not everybody, you know, gets up to speed really quickly. So as Donny said, you know, he is there for a couple more years, and I feel like even if this year is just a bit of a bummer, like, I know Lando came up very strong, but at the same time, especially in his own personal development, it did take him like 2 years for him to really feel solidified and feel at one with the car. And Daniel said, you know, this is where I'm lacking. I don't know the car as much as Lando does. So I just, give him this year to find his feet. McLaren are very good at giving people, well, recently they've been very good at giving people some time and giving people time to develop whatever. And I think the new team, the new structure, and especially with Andreas in, he's the best man. We love Andreas. So I think that they're going to give him some time. He's there for the long haul. He knows that they've got a good bond, and I think we'll eventually have a lovely little McLaren thing going on, and hopefully McLaren can make their way up, and then we can have Lando and Daniel fighting for championships. Oh, that sounds so good.
I think as well, like, if you actually think about where McLaren were, like, even in like 2019, the results that Daniel is getting at the moment probably would have been like accepted and acceptable, and people would be like, that's like roughly where McLaren tend to be, like in the points 1 week, out the points another week. So you've got to take into account as well, like, McLaren's mad growth when it comes to their performance as well. So in 2019, I feel like people would have accepted it more and been like, oh yeah, decent performances, and then come hopefully the end of the year when he improves, sort of similar to how Carlos did, then everyone will be thriving about it. But he's got time. We'll give him time, and I have no doubts that he's not gonna be on top of his game come the end of the season.
I also think it was important to look how he was with the media after he crashed on Saturday, because obviously after Monaco he was very like, I don't know what's going on. Like, he sounded so like gutted. But after he crashed on Saturday, which I thought he was doing very well, he was on such a flying lap at that lap if he hadn't have crashed. But he was like, it's okay, I've crashed it before, I can do it. He was very like more his smiley self, right? If you literally look at the race before, he was like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what's happening with the car. So I think you can see that he went to McLaren and properly like was in the sim as well, and I think that's really important, that they're giving him time and they're helping him, and they're literally doing it as a team. It's not a you've got to do it by yourself or we've got to do it for you. It's very much a team effort, and I think that's really important, because he does need time to settle in, but I think McLaren as a team will help him do that, and I think that will also help him and his confidence in the car, even if he's not like up to scratch with that car. The confidence that he has from the team will make him feel a bit better. So I think hopefully next race is France, right? France. I don't really know, but I'm hoping
there's no walls to crash into.
I'm hoping that he's got the confidence now, because he had a bit of a better weekend. So, and he actually did get points, so that's really important.
I really liked how Alonso tried to blame all the other drivers. Like, we all agreed not to push the car beyond our limits. So he was like mad at them all because they kept crashing. And I was like, what do you expect them to do? They're a Formula One driver. They're going to push it to the max. And if you're not, then maybe you need to... we all agreed not to crash. And it's like, that's not how it works, bro. You can't just say they broke an agreement because they crashed into a wall. I was like,
we all agreed with Michael before the race.
No crashing.
That's rude. I feel a lot of the drivers were just ignoring that. But like I said, France next week, we actually probably won't get any red flags in qualifying session. It will probably be normal quali. So
no, but the rumble strips in France, they don't work. You know, the blue and the red ones. You know,
it's their one purpose.
People yeet themselves through them.
Have you seen like Italian F4 there? They're like everywhere. It's insanity. So I don't know how they think they're going to stop at their F1 car.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that is going to be chaos. Do we have F3 there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chaos is going to be chaos.
I'm not going to
Get her off.
All right, let's move on to a new question. This is a Ricciardo/Pierre Gasly question. I'm going to lump them together. Do we think Ricciardo regrets leaving Red Bull? / what's next for Pierre Gasly, because he can't go back to Red Bull?
I wish I
doesn't
knew what was
regret.
next for Pierre. I wish. I genuinely have no idea.
I can tell you now, insider information, that the Alpine Sitch is not going to be for Pierre Gasly. Alpine have pretty much said they're not really going to develop much on their car anymore this year, and they're focusing on next year. And obviously, when you do that, you can't be like, well, I'm not going to develop my car this year, but Esteban, you're out, you know? So I think Esteban is quite solidified in there. Obviously, the news media outlets, whatever, came out a couple of weeks ago and said that as well. So unfortunately, that's not where we thought Pierre was going to go. It would have been quite nice for him, because as much as it's not really a step up or down, he would have been more solidified within the team. Where is next for Pierre Gasly? That is the question on my lips as well, everybody, because I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Everybody went to a frenzy because Mercedes said congratulations. They were like,
they were doing a beef conspiracy theory. They were like, what?
But I think a main thing would depend on what a junior done in F2, because if you get one that wins the championship, they can't do another year. So quite simply, what are you going to do with them? Is Pierre then going to take the brunt of that? I don't know. So I'd love you, Liam Lawson, but I am rooting for Oscar Piastri this year, because there's no room, but at the same time, there's no room for Oscar as well. So I don't really know that.
There wouldn't be a room for Oscar anyway, regardless. They would never promote a junior. Don't be silly.
There's no room for anyone. There is no space at the inn. Kimi is taking about 5 spaces on the grid right now.
It's almost as if we need more teams in Formula One.
Oh my God.
Maybe we'll be speaking about this.
You got some spare money, Beef?
Yes, I do. All of my money.
The only money she's going to spend on is spending it for Jean-Luc Petitkov's F2 to get him back up and running. Or as you'd like to call him, what did she call him?
Guanluca.
Guanluca.
But not to speak.
I prefer not to speak. All right. Okay. Well, this is an interesting fact. Zeta says, "Did you know that Lando is still the only driver on the grid to score points in every race, but also finish above where he started in quali?"
Jeez, that's a stat and a half.
Me and Shazza knew that one.
All right. Okay.
All right.
We are the Lando fangirls.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's really impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really
I just think, like, especially because last year you could like see that some of the McLaren results were up and down, and it's just been like, okay, Lando's actually had a pretty solid start, and I think people are like, he's not serious, and I'm like, he's got a podium and he's been in the points every week. Like, what else do you want him to do?
We want him to win a race, Charlotte.
I would like that too, but unless you're going to get a race like Baku every week, I don't think that's going to happen, Babs.
Oh, so you're saying McLaren aren't going to win a race this season?
No, I want them to. Obviously,
but you don't think they will?
But unless we see something, I don't think Max is gonna let anyone else win. I'm not gonna lie.
That is very true.
So I was like, is Lewis ever gonna win a race again? Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I just think with the way that Red Bull are, especially with Perez being up there this week, like he's been the ultimate wingman this week and came out on top. I just think that they're quite like solid at the top, and I don't see how we're going to get a win from another team apart from Mercedes unless we have a crazy race.
Obviously, we'll have a crazy race though. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I hope so. With how bloody many we've got to watch.
I was going to say.
Right.
Well, we've had loads of crazy races so far. Like, I'd say Bahrain is pretty crazy. No, it wasn't that crazy.
Surely Austria, the first or the second one of those has got to be a banger.
Yeah.
And we could have rain. Austria is a good place to have a bit of rain. I'm hoping for no rain at Silverstone because I would like to not be rained on. Yeah, I'd like that one to be sunny. Spa, bit of rain. Interlagos, we might actually not end up going there. So let's just...
Let's make sure Steph does not cry.
Let's not talk about that, okay? More questions. What are the chances that Mercedes drop Bottas before the end of the season? Well, we've already done that one.
0.
What about this? A good point that Jess made here. All 3-car teams. We see it in Formula 3. There's so many people you're like, I wish you had another seat. But can you imagine
30 F1 cars on the grid going
around Baku?
Lord. I'd pay for that.
You'd have about 20 red flags in Poland.
We'd be at the last bloody corner before we even started at Baku. Man,
I don't even think there's enough drivers.
I don't think we're allowed anymore to have.
No, but theoretically, if it's forgetting about the actual logistics, whatever. If you we'll go through like some of the teams, maybe like Mercedes. Who say if we had to keep these, maybe not then. Who would you?
Okay, Lewis, Pierre, and George. There we go.
Yeah,
That's Mercedes.
What about
It
Ferrari?
would solve a lot of issues, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Of, like drivers being left out without a seat. Maybe like every other race, they can have a third car. So like you get 5 extras one race, 5 extras the next race.
That's
'cause then Oscar would
rubbish.
have
That
a
is like
seat.
that is like your idea for having a random race every year. That
Mate,
just
could
has
you
extra-
imagine some of the
that just has
states?
double points?
You know what the sad thing is though? Van Dorn still wouldn't get a drive, even though he's bloody reserve driver.
I know. I'd be honest. PS2, whatever they gave him.
Guys, we'd
can you
see
imagine the
Albon back in
states that has
F1,
to-
probably.
But would we?
No, we wouldn't.
No, we
we
wouldn't.
definitely wouldn't. Oh, we wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
we
think
don't.
that we should
Liam.
talk about Fernando Alonso, because I feel a lot of people ask questions, and I think we've not really spoke about it too much, but I think we definitely should, because I don't know what turn it is, and this is really bad, and it's the really tight bit that goes like this. Nico Hulkenberg crashed there before. Okay, I don't know what it is. But
Could
he
be
has
anywhere.
done so many overtakes there. No, I think it's before Castle. I don't know. Anyway, somewhere where
Wait,
it's
you mean
very
like
tight.
turn 4, 5?
No, further, like 6, 7 maybe before. I think it's like a couple of
7's
minutes-
Castle, is it not?
I'm
Yeah,
like, I
turn
don't know
eight-
where that is.
Turn 8 is Castle. That's
so
I
it's
am
6,
stupid beef.
5, 6 then maybe.
That's
I don't
Castle.
know. Oh, whatever. You would have seen the replays. I don't want to talk about that because he was just sending it. Like I think he done really well, and I think he was somebody that like we kept seeing him and like, oh, hang on a minute, you are like he was running. I don't know. Was a piece of, he was getting himself quite high up, so I just shout out really.
Shout out to
because,
Fernando Alonso. We know that you're watching.
hey, if you're watching,
His
It's
overtake on Yuki as well was absolutely bloody beautiful.
It's not.
yes, and I think he
Yuki
actually
did a
done
great
that on
overtake on
Valtteri
Nando
Bottas.
as well.
Yeah.
They're having a lovely little.
Everyone
ding-dong
made
moment.
overtakes on Valtteri Bottas. It's not special.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Everyone did it. I think even Nicholas Latifi probably could have done it. So
I think he was P13.
I think he probably did.
No, I think
Oh,
that
that
was
was
his
when he was-
P13 because his engineer told him to stay out, but in the pit lane.
Surely Nikki would have been like, everyone else is going left.
Have you seen as well that Nikki's got penalty points for that?
That's actually a joke.
Yeah, but you have to pick up penalty.
Yeah.
If you get a penalty in a race, it obviously correlates as
Yeah, but
like,
like
a penalty.
last
But the
year-
amount
No, but last year,
no, honestly, I
and they
genuinely
find
would.
the team and not Charles. So how is that any
Yeah.
different? How is that any different?
It's almost
Somebody-
as if there's no consistency in the FIA.
Best just exposing everything with planning.
Literally. You might as well give
Easter
them the
eggs.
passwords to our Google
Google
accounts. and
They're
tell them
already
what
in our
all
Google
the
Drive.
videos are.
Every single week, these guys are like, "You should do this video," and we're like,
We've got that for next week.
We've got that in. We're all in our
Right.
brains."
Is there anything else we want to pick up on from Baku weekend before we review what our predictions were?
I would just like to say, overall, what a beautiful podium, really. Like,
Oh,
what a
it's-
beautiful podium.
I was just so happy. Like
Yeah.
I love happy podiums when you
Yeah.
can tell that it just means so much to each of them,
Like passion,
rather than
passionate
just like,
podiums.
oh, another one.
Mm.
Fair enough. Cheers.
Yeah, literally.
I mean,
And also F2 was amazing as well. I would just like to quickly say that.
Obviously,
And
get
And
well
just Baku
soon,
has the
Teo
vibes,
Porcher.
so none of you believed us, and we're now showing you that Baku
You know
has
he's
the
broken his
vibes.
wrist, his arm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Poor
What a
Teo.
little boy.
So
Bless his heart.
bad.
He's got 6 weeks to get it sorted before Silvo, and it
Oh.
apparently takes 8 weeks to heal. So I hope
6
he's a fast
weeks?
healer. Yeah, 6 weeks till Silvo.
Well, he was climbing up a window trying to watch the Formula One, but he'd broken it. I thought, Teo, get out.
Get
Silly
down,
boy.
Teo. Also, Baku is beautiful.
Oh,
Just that
Agree.
as well. Like when they were doing the overhead shots and we were just like
Mm.
looking through the circuit, I just thought, this is a beautiful little city. It would have been
Stefan was-
it would have been fabulous if I could have gone.
I was trying to, you know, when it was birds, I was trying to see whether I could see where I was, but no, I'm still trying to have a look and thinking, does that look
Is that where we were gonna stay? Is that what
She doesn't even know
That's the
what it
airport.
looks like, but she was seeing which ones looked like it. 'cause
I was like,
that
which ones looks like our
sense.
balcony?
It has a lovely little balcony. Oh,
It is.
guys,
Oh,
see you next year for the vlog around Baku when me and Kira will be there.
You literally said, I'm not going, I've got exams.
I do remember this because it is a bank holiday weekend, like a full on bank holiday, and you were like, I've got exams.
Oh, well, we'll
Seems
do
like
an
a future
Baku
Steph
trip.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It does seem like a future step.
F-Series 2023 Baku trip to the same apartment because we need to do this. It was really nice.
Right, let's
Anyway.
review our predictions because we actually made predictions. We put them on our TikTok. So if you're not following the TikTok, go follow our TikTok at FSeries __. Join yours came
First
true.
mine came true.
It's Baku.
Yeah. So Dawny's prediction was
A red flag during the race. Ding, ding,
there
ding.
was one.
There was.
Yeah.
Isn't it mad though how we didn't have red flags for ages and now they're just like willy-nilly, they're like, red flag!
But don't you think that Lance's crash should have been a red flag because they took forever
Yeah.
to get that off? I don't understand how that was just a safety car.
And it
that
was
would
like
have
in
caused
such a
even
dangerous
more,
place.
like that would have just caused even
Yeah.
more drama, wouldn't it? Like
It was probably in a worse place than Max's was.
Yeah.
Because it was
The
before
only
the
reason
pits.
the only reason they red flagged Max is basically because Red Bull told them to.
Yes. They're like, I think you should red flag this, Michael. And he's like, oh yeah.
Oh, Michael's like,
But I
"Alright
think
then."
the reason Red Bull wanted to red flag it so much was so that they could change Checo's tyre and so that they
But
could save
equally,
him.
they could have just finished the race under safety car.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
So
I
it
thought that
was
would have been
actually such a gamble from Red
Yeah,
Bull to
and
go.
I think they literally just thought, oh my god, there's like all these cars on here, it's so dangerous. And
Right,
they weren't like,
from the
we need to
safety.
change tires or we need to, I don't know. It was like, oh my god, people could get so much, like it could get hurt, and it was like,
Because
why
they were
did
saying
they-
there was no telemetry on when the tyre went, so it could just go like at any time.
Exactly.
And they knew
On a bit
Checo
of
had a
debris.
problem as well.
Yeah,
Like they
Checo
could have
had hydraulic
easily
issues.
finished
Yeah.
under the safety car, but it didn't.
Well done, Red Bull.
Didn't. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
I know.
I
coming
never
from my
thought
mouth.
Thinking
you'd
about
say
other people.
so. Jeez. Okay, right. My prediction was Ferraris crash into each other. Unfortunately, that
You
didn't
done the
happen.
worst. You done
Yeah,
the
but
worst
that's
of all
because
of us.
I did think they were going to be starting closer together, but they weren't anywhere near each other throughout the entirety of the race. So there's actually no possibility of contact. So yeah, we'll just move on from mine. It didn't work because can't remember yours.
Mine was Yuki and Lance scored points. Now, granted, one of them wasn't the best. However,
50.
he was on for it, and I was looking at the situation thinking you would have been good. So technically, I feel not as bad for it. But Yuki, very good weekend. Lance would have been. So thanks, Pirelli. You ruined my prediction. Anyway,
Thanks, Pirelli.
Charlotte's was really good. So Charlotte's was wishing for a midfield podium, and she nearly almost got.
I got two.
Checo was also one that is not normally on the podium.
Yeah. I was just
God.
like, oh my god! I saw bloody like Seb, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, third, I've got it. And it was like just seeing Lewis. I was like, yes, I've got two people on there that I want it.
So,
yeah.
Mine was
Oh,
Alpine,
wins.
no points. So I was halfway there, and even if we didn't have a restart, Fernando was in P10, so quite possibly I could have ended up getting mine right. However, I did place the cheeky bet at the weekend, and I did say Charles Leclerc on pole, and you did get me a little bit of money, so cheers,
I think
Charles.
that's becoming a gambler, mate.
You
So-
actually
know.
are becoming a fan. I'm actually a bit worried for you.
It is a problem.
It is.
I'm up on my dollar. It's fine. It's fine.
It's
Oh my
fun.
God. That's what they all say.
It's fine until it
Yeah.
becomes a problem.
Anyway, so our predictions, it's kind of successful, kind of not. Clearly, we do not have a crystal ball. Did you all do the same predictions? So, for those of you who don't know, we do big content creators community predictions as well. Did you all predict the same
No,
things?
no.
I know that on that one, I predicted both Astons to score points. Now, I would have also been on for that one to be a success. Fortunately, it didn't happen. What were the rest of your predictions
did-
on there?
I
That came straight.
Came
Aston Martin
straight.
to out-qualify Alpine or outperform Alpine. So obviously when I saw Lance go out, well, obviously Ocon went out first. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
yes, I've got it. And then I saw Lance go out and I was like, oh my God. And I saw Seven, I was like, I've got it. I was like, yes. So that literally gave me my points. Otherwise I would have got like 6. But I got
You would have had as many as me.
Well, yeah, I didn't do great this weekend in that, but I did do better than Kira, who was at the bottom of the table this week. I said first lap incident, which I thought surely we're going to get, because I don't think we've had one this year. So I was like, surely we're going to get one. Like, look at the state of them in qualifying, but we didn't. I was gutted, especially because qualifying, none of us got any points for that really, because it was everywhere. So yeah. Kez, do you know what you said?
No, I can't remember. I think I might have been talking about Ricardo, but I don't really know. But obviously it was shite, so never mind.
I can
We'll
take
move on. I have no idea.
Don't say the naughty words on the channel.
That's why I added an E
Beeping
on the
them
end.
out.
I added an E on the end, so it's actually not a bad word.
Let me see
Thank
what she
you.
said, gang.
Thanks for that.
It was probably
Anyway.
Can you review it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a spreadsheet. This is Alex does stuff. Who
Does
this
F1
for.
stuff.
Does F1 stuff.
stuff.
He is yeah, he just does
He
stuff.
is your statistic
He
king.
is-
You go to him for all of the stats, for all of
Mhm.
the like technical analysis.
He is the one
At the end
who
of every
put that
weekend.
tweet out comparing Perez to Albon and Gasly, and it blew up and you all went mental for it. Kira said Ricardo mega weekend.
Oh, did I?
Mega weekend in the wall.
Mega weekend in P9.
Do you know what? I'm so sorry. This is why I don't do this, because I ruin everyone's weekends. Sorry, Daniel, if you're watching. I know you are. Sorry.
Oh, they've now released, sorry to interrupt, but they've now released a video of the channel. This is when Hamilton went straight on.
Is that where Mark Webber?
Oh my god, look
Is
at Mark, he makes a
Look
noise.
at
I wanna
Mark.
see
Yeah, if you haven't seen Mark with that video of Michael Webber screaming on the Channel 4 commentary,
But they
go watch
posted,
it.
they posted a screenshot of the exact moment, and both Billy and Mark are making the same face, and they're like, "We don't know who it is." It's
Who
what?
posted
They
it?
reacted the exact same way that everybody in the world reacted, as well to Max as well. When Max crashed, it was just like, ah! I was like, what? So yeah.
And you know what it is as well? It's when I'm watching the race, and then bloody Chris pops up on our notifications from FSeries, and I see, and he's like, Verstappen's crashed on the straight, and I'm like, what?
That's why I turn my notifications off at the weekend, because I don't like the spoilers.
Chris Medland tweets so quickly.
Yeah.
This is what I
Rapid.
want to know. He's so quick. Like, I've
Like-
seen it play out on screen and I'm on time. And then I literally, as it's playing out, he tweets and I'm like,
Yeah.
jeez, jeez, jeez,
Right, end it.
Yeah, we're ready to go now.
Oh, are we
Right,
doing
we
French
should end it. We have
predictions?
been waffling.
Oh,
I
it just felt like French.
All right, let's do
If you want to know
No, we'll do the one on TikTok.
our French ones, yeah. We'll, if you follow our TikTok, they'll be up probably like a couple of days before France. So if you want to know what we're going to say, we'll have like a week or so to think about it. Follow the TikTok. We'll post it there. We might post it on the Twitter, but we might keep it exclusive to TikTok because at the end of the day, we are trying to hit 1,000 followers on there. So you do just need to head over there, really, don't you? So yeah, I say we keep the French ones so we can have a little bit of a think.
Okay.
Alright.
We'll
Follow
keep
us
it
on
secret.
TikTok.
Secret.
now.
Follow us on TikTok.
But thanks for joining us for this live today, guys. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed the race. All we have left to say is really Baku 2022 squad trip. Baku does have the vibes.
And subscribe.
Chaos!
Yeah, subscribe.
If you haven't seen us and you're not subscribed, subscribe down below. Don't forget to like this if you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us for this hour of post-race waffle. We do them sometimes when we have a bit of a banger of a race. So maybe see you in a month, maybe see you in 5. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for joining us. We're going to end it there now before it gets too chaotic. Thank you for the support.
Sorry.